Hi Algebra 1, welcome to Chapter 8. We have finished Chapter 7 and we're ready to move on to Chapter 8. And today we're going to start in Section 1 of Chapter 8. And so you need to have your books in front of you and you need to have paper and pencil, of course, and possibly even the note handout that I have already provided you with. Your textbook page is 474 is where we are today. And we're moving out of exponent rules, but now we're going to start using them as we start working with monomials and polynomials and all of that exciting stuff that comes with that. I love this part of Algebra 1, and I hope that as we move through it, you're going to feel the same ways I do, but that's okay if you don't. But anyways, very exciting chapter ahead of us. And don't forget that your Chapter 7 test is coming up later this week. I've already discussed those details with you in Zoom on Tuesday if you are keeping up with our schedule. But in the meantime, we are ready to move on to Chapter 8. Before we dive in, I want to review and maybe introduce some vocabulary words. The first one I want to talk about is a monomial. Now, when we talk about what words mean and vocabulary, mono means one. So a monomial is a single term. We've used those words before when it comes to algebra. And a single term can have multiplication or division happening within it, but not addition or subtraction. And so some examples of monomials would be 3x squared. We have multiplication and exponents happening, but no addition or subtraction. That is a perfect example of a monomial. Let me show you a few more. 5y would be a monomial. 13, the number 13 is a single term. Same with if we even wrote division as a over 3. That would qualify as a monomial. So when we move on to the definition for polynomial, we know that poly means many, so polynomial means more than one term, more than one monomial. So we have two or more happening. And so this is where we can then insert addition or subtraction happening between the individual monomials. So I'm going to give you one example of a polynomial. Has many monomials in it, terms, one term, two terms, three terms. So this polynomial has in fact three monomials in it. We also need to review our definition for common terms. We have talked about common terms all year long. We also know that you've learned them in previous years. A common term is defined by any terms that have the same variables and exponents. I'm going to abbreviate there. Same variables and exponents. And you're going to see as we move through our lesson that that is very important knowledge to have as we learn to work with monomials. Okay, monomial is a single term. Polynomial is two or more monomials together with addition and subtraction. Common terms, we know that we have the same variables and exponents. Okay, in your book, if you're following along, I want you to jump ahead to problem number 2. We're just going to briefly talk about how to add and subtract monomials today, and that will be it for our lesson today. So, jump to problem 2, and you will see two examples there, A and B, and we need to add two monomials in these problems. So the reason we reviewed what common terms were is we need to use that as we add monomials. If I look at example A, I have 3x squared plus 5x squared. I can only add and subtract things or terms that are common terms, meaning they have to have the same variables and the same exponents, precisely the same. So if I look at letter A, I know that I'm adding 3x squared plus 5x squared. They have the same variable and the same exponent. That means I can, in fact, add them. And we know from our years of experience here with algebra is I add them by doing the math with the coefficients. Another word that I've used a lot in our class before. Coefficients are the numbers in front of my variables and exponents. So in this case, I have a coefficient of 3 and I have a coefficient of 5. And I know if I'm going to combine common terms, I do the math with just my coefficients and the rest of my term stays the same. I'm not going to change the x. I'm not going to change the exponent of 2. So it's really telling me how many x squareds do I have in all? And so if I write my answer, keeping my variable and my exponent the same, and I do the math with my coefficients, I know that the answer to this problem, or the simplified version of this, is 8x squared. I took a really long time to go through that. I felt like there's probably a few of you that need to review that concept before moving on. You need to feel very confident and very comfortable with finding common terms and being able to do the math with the coefficients. Let's move on to letter B. In this case, I first need to establish if I have common terms. And in this one I have an x, in this one I have an x. I have a cube and a cube, and a y and a y. So all of my variables are exactly the same, and all of my exponents are exactly the same. That tells me that I do have common terms. So my answer is going to tell me how many of them I have once I've done the math with the coefficients. Just like in problem A, my coefficients are the numbers in front of my common terms. So in this case, I have 4, and I'm subtracting. Well, there is no number there in front of that x cubed y. Or is there? If I'm asking that, you know why I'm asking that. It's because there is a number there. It's the assumed 1. There is a 1 there. So my math that I'm going to do in this problem is 4 minus 1, which would leave me with 3x cubed y as my answer to that simplified problem. Okay, what I want you to do right now is pause the video and try the 2 practice problems in your handout. There are just 2, and you will also find them in your book under problem 2, the got it problems. So pause this video, come back when you're ready to talk about it. Okay, if you're here, it means you've already tried those problems, you have an answer. Let's go over them quickly. In number 1 of my practice problems, I first need to ask myself, do I have common terms? And they're making these pretty easy as we start. So of course, this is a problem that I can combine the common terms. X to the 4th, x to the 4th. So that tells me my answer is going to be how many x to the 4th do I have? So I look at my coefficients, -6 plus 11. I do that math and I get 5x to the 4th. Notice that the only thing changing is the number in front. My variables and my exponents do not change when I'm adding and subtracting polynomials or monomials. Just the number out front. So the answer to number 1 is 5x to the 4th. Number 2, again, I need to first establish and confirm that I'm dealing with common terms. Like I said, they made these pretty easy for today. So I can see that yes, these are common terms. They have the same variables and the same exact powers. So that part will not change. The only thing that will change is my number in front, or my coefficient. So I do the math. 2 minus 7 gives me -5. X squared y to the 4th as my simplified answer. If you have any questions, start this video over again. Make sure you are following along with your book and your notes. And right now, I'm actually going to insert something that I've never done before, and it is a chance for extra credit. A way to see who is really watching these videos. If you are watching this video and you are hearing this, I want you to text or take a picture of something you are going to eat today and just email it to me. No words are necessary. That's my way of knowing that you're actually watching these videos. And if you participate, you can get some extra credit. And it definitely benefits you to keep this to yourself, because the fewer people who do it get more extra credit. So again, extra credit possibility. If you're really watching this video, just take a picture of something you will eat today and email it to me. And I know that we're all on different schedules, so this needs to be to me by Wednesday at 5 p.m. The same time this assignment is due, that is due. So Wednesday, 5 o'clock, send me a picture of something you're gonna eat today. That's it. And then you get some extra credit for watching my video. Okay, let's talk about the, in the note handout and on RunWeb, you will see the suggested book problems to try to bring alongside this lesson that we just learned. And you'll notice that there is no Khan Academy assignment for tonight. What I want you to do is your homework is to start preparing for your Chapter 7 test. I've gone over those details in Tuesday's Zoom, and so you know that that's happening this weekend. And in the teacher notes on RunWeb are lists of problems from the book that will help you prepare for our test. And you can always use your notes that you've taken over Chapter 7. You can do more of the suggested problems in each lesson, and those answers are in the back. But you'll also notice that for the chapter test in Chapter 7, the chapter test for Chapter 7, and that page is also listed on RunWeb, I included a document that gives you the answers. So there are so many ways for you to prepare for the test for Chapter 7. If you have any more questions on that, please email me your questions. And also remember, Friday's Zoom will be optional for those who have questions just about Chapter 7. Okay, thanks for hanging out with me today. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.